Right, hello everybody, welcome back to The Golden Sky. Today it is Thursday the 23rd of October 2025. I'm Tom, and in today's video we're going to look at Liverpool's 5-1 victory against Frankfurt yesterday in the Champions League, back to winning ways, and we're going to take a look, as always, at some clips from the game. I'm going to go to the tactics board and look at what Arne Slot changed to make Liverpool play much better in this game. Or was it just a case of Frankfurt being pretty poor? Maybe a bit of both. But if you're joining me here on YouTube, thank you very much for doing so. Please do drop a like on the video, comment away as well. Let me know what your thoughts of the game were and what you think to the video as well. Subscribe to the channel. Like I have said previously, we're trying to get to 200 subscribers. So anyone who clicks subscribe helps us get closer and closer. Really, really appreciate it. Podcast listeners, 5-star ratings and reviews, much appreciated as well. Appreciate you guys just as much as the YouTube viewers, of course. So, yes, Liverpool win 5-1, and the game was basically as perfect as it could have been for us to have after losing 4 in a row. Hadn't lost 5 in a row in a long time. Hadn't lost 4 in a row until this last batch of losing 4 in a row. I think it was 2014 was the last time, so desperately needed the win, got the win. Like I said earlier, Frankfurt were wide open and didn't defend very well at all. But that said, we can only play what's in front of us. We were so low on confidence, and that showed the first 25 minutes. But then we got into a bit of a groove after we scored a few goals. I heard that on Monday, Virgil van Dijk hosted a players-only meeting at the training ground at La AXA for, obviously, the players with morale a little bit low. This is something that happens in the NBA world more often than the footballing world. I don't know how many of my viewers are tapped in to basketball, but yes, this happens quite a lot. When a team is having a bit of a bad run, they'll have a players-only meeting, and it's basically just what you can imagine, the players probably talking and trying to iron out any differences and get back on track. And it seems like that's worked. I mean, we scored 5 goals, things looking good. But why did we score 5 goals? Why did we play much better? Well, let's go and look at some clips first of all to start the video. And we'll see kind of my thoughts on the game and what I think we did well and which players were key to those 5. So let's go and start the video off with that. Okay, so we're going to start off here in the first action of the game or so, with Liverpool on the ball. Now, the first thing that I want to point out in this video, and it's going to become a recurring theme, is Liverpool's team shape. I want to focus on the team shape a lot in this video, and the most important positions and players that we're going to look at in that is number 1, Curtis Jones, who was incredible in this match, by the way, and number 2, Dominic Szoboszlai, who was also extremely good in this match. We're going to focus on these two a lot. I just want you to look at the position. When you have a double pivot in football, it's only a double pivot. You can only call it a double pivot if the players are stood in some resemblance of a straight line. You know, they are lined up with one another. You don't have one stood here where McAllister would have been stood against United. It's a double pivot. There's 2 of them. That's why it's double. Liverpool have really lacked this recently, and I think adding Curtis Jones into this game was massive for Liverpool. I also want to look at the defenders. So you've got Robbo, you've got Van Dijk, and you've got Konate that you can see on the screen. What you can't see is Frimpong. Now we'll look at this more on the tactics board later on, and we'll use Bradley as the example there, but the fullback in this situation is providing the width, and you still have this sort of rest defence situation where you've got the 2 sitting level midfielders and then your 3 defenders providing a sort of blockade to any potential counter-attacks. So all that being said to say, it's pointless having these 2 midfielders here if they won't pass the ball forwards. Both of these 2 did a brilliant job of doing that last night. Much better than we have seen. Our build-up was much better. Yes, Frankfurt maybe didn't defend as well as we see some teams defend in the Premier League when they defend deep. It's a very similar situation. They've got a 5, they've got a 4, and they've got a 1, like we saw against United. But we were able to find space because we were more brave on the ball, and this man, Florian Wirtz, was a key reason why. Here he is getting on the ball. Szoboszlai looking for a forward pass. You've got both Ekitike and Wirtz coming to the ball. They're both extremely comfortable with it when it comes to them with the back to goal. And I actually like Isak's position here as well. He was quite quiet in the game, like we said in the ratings, but on the last line with space in behind, arcing his run, ready to try and make a run in behind. Keep that in mind. So Szoboszlai plays the ball to Wirtz. That's what happens here. Wirtz shows the ball nicely. And then this is the quality. So as soon as this happens, look what happens to Frankfurt with this between the lines progressive pass. That flat back five that we saw has now had one of their players had to jump right out of the back line to try and press Wirtz. But because he's so quick and aware of his surroundings at all times, what's going on, he's able in one touch to just knock this to Ekitike, who's also dropped off with him. Now, this completely eliminates this player from the game, which is Arthur. I think it's pronounced Theat, or something like that. Not quite hard to say his name. Belgian international. Good defender, but he's forced to jump out of his back line. It creates this giant hole in the Frankfurt back line that we can take advantage of. Goes to Ekitike, and you see Wirtz has now jumped the other side of Theat, who's had to gamble towards the ball. And Ekitike can thread this back through to Wirtz, and then we're on the way. You know, we broke through the midfield press, we've pulled the player out of position, we have space to attack. Unfortunately, Ekitike actually gets this pass a little bit wrong, and I think Robin Koch is able to come and intercept it. You can see he's challenged with Wirtz over here, and the ball ends up back. But look at Liverpool's recovery. Again, we're able to see this. We didn't do this very well at all against United. When we lost the ball, we recovered it quickly. I mean, the ball goes to Van Dijk. He's not really got any pressure on him, but the setup of our team is much, much better. You can see neither of the midfielders have gone flying forward. You've still got this defensive shape in the back three that we're seeing. It's just much more organised. So Van Dijk's able to reset. Szoboszlai comes for the ball. We've not got Gravenberch on his own, sort of hiding here. We're able to reset the attack. It comes to Szoboszlai. Now we've got space, and we had a lot of space in this situation against United where we'd have the ball here. We saw Gravenberch look for passes, and he sort of declined options. I looked at that in the tactics video where he declined passes over to Salah, like maybe long passes like that. He declined passes over the top when Isak was making runs, when Gakpo was making runs. Szoboszlai does a great job here. Now we can see Frimpong's come into the picture as well. You can see him. I just want to point him out, providing that width. And if you just look at Liverpool's shape, it's just so much better. It just looks more like a team. We have a player in the middle, that's key. We have Jones sort of there as well, ready to defend any counter-attacks. We can switch the ball over here if we need to. The ball can go out here if it needs to, really. This is a tough pass, but it can. Ekitike's coming, dropped off his defender. He's offering a pass that can be easily done. Frimpong's wide, so we've got width on both sides by Gakpo and Frimpong, meaning both wing-backs of Frankfurt have to come out if the ball goes out there. So we're spreading the pitch and making it nice and big. But what actually happens is Isak, remember we said he's on the last line looking for the ball over the top. Well, this time he makes the run, great timing on it. He's onside. Szoboszlai is able to chip it over the top to him. First touch is brilliant, brings it down really well. But then he tries to do a little dink. He tries to dink it sort of over the top like this. But he just doesn't quite get it right. It's not quite a perfect finish, which is disappointing because obviously this is what we've signed Isak for. This is why we spent the big money on him to finish off these chances. And if we didn't win this one 5-1, if we actually ended up losing, you probably look at this chance that we did against United and say, well, you know, it comes under criticism. He's not scoring his chances. But again, it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things in this game. But I want to focus less on the finish. The finishing will come with Isak. Like, we know that. It's the play from Liverpool that I want to focus on. It's much more balanced. You see, we tried to play through and then we were able to, the next phase, chip the ball over the top. It's just much more balanced. Great play from Szoboszlai, great shape from Liverpool. We almost score a goal. So, next one now. This is more a individual highlight, to be honest, of Florian Wirtz. Just wanted to point out his work in this game because he was absolutely brilliant in this game as well. Defensively, we've been so poor defensively, Liverpool have, this season. And I wanted to just point out something that I thought was interesting in this game with Wirtz's position. So we'll look at his position in more detail later in the video. But he sort of lined up on the right-hand side of midfield, especially when we didn't have the ball. And what's interesting about that is that's where Salah would play for us, you know, sort of that right-wing position. It was more of a 4-4-2 in this game than a 4-3-3 when we didn't have the ball. But Wirtz was on the right where Salah would be. And as we know, Salah does not run back anymore. It's never really been Salah's thing to run back, even when Klopp was here. But under Slot especially, he just literally does no defensive work. It's a tactic. I don't know if Salah particularly likes doing it, but I think he would do it more if it wasn't a tactic. The tactic is to leave Salah up front, so then if we get a counter-attack, he can save his energy and he can be clinical like he was last season when he got 31 goals or whatever and 20 million assists in the Premier League. Something along those lines anyway, when he was finishing everything for us, getting goals and assists every match. Now, what we've seen this season is we've been super easy to get at because teams have seem to have worked out that they've got loads of space on Salah's side. We saw Chelsea take advantage of that with Cucurella and Garnacho. We saw them constantly attack that left-hand side, leaving Szoboszlai, who's playing right back 2v1 countless times. Look at Wirtz in this situation. This is why I put this clip in. So he's the right midfielder defensively here, and people have said maybe we can't play with Wirtz like that because he can't defend this way. And I'm one of those people. I don't really want to see him defending as a wide player a lot, but he does a really good job here. Closes down. Frimpong also does a good job. They close in the space on the winger. Wirtz comes in, gets his body across. You see he's cut the ball off here. Body across, wins the ball, but he's not done there. Next player comes to press him. Wirtz, lovely little La Croqueta away from the defender. 1 foot to the other. Beats this man. You can see his tackle is wild. It's never getting anywhere near. Wirtz able to dribble out of possession. Dribble out of a dangerous area. Remember, he picked the ball up sort of here. Beats a man. Is able to dribble. Gets himself free. Still not done there, though. Look at the ability now. Able to switch us from a defensive position. With one pass, it's going to come all the way over to Gakpo here. In one ball. Look at this now. Look at this situation. This is all from Wirtz's creation. His work rate is phenomenal. Getting stuck in. He'll do that even though he's not the biggest. He's not the strongest looking player. He gets stuck in. Gakpo. And suddenly we're 2v2 with Gakpo and Isak against the two centre-backs. Now Gakpo has to slow down a little bit. He finds Isak. The pass sends Isak a little bit wide. Maybe not quite where he'd want to be. And maybe, honestly, we're looking that if Alexander Isak was fully sharp, perhaps he's able to really drive at this player. Maybe take him, cut inside, find the finish in the near post, something along those lines. I still don't think he's quite there, Isak, for me. I think we've seen that. He ends up taking a shot from this sort of wide position. He sort of settles here, this one, and he even doesn't manage to get his shot across goal. He actually ends up shooting at this near post, and it's a relatively easy save for the Frankfurt keeper. But just think of where we've gone there, that transition, and we've been so poor on transitions in our attacking sense this season so far. Have we even scored a goal from a counter-attack that you can think of? I can't think of one off the top of my head so far this season. So nice to see us transitioning from a defensive situation into an attack. It's good, even if we don't score from it. Now, it wasn't all good from Liverpool, and in the first 25 minutes, I do think we were a little bit too slow. We didn't quite get the press right, and this is a situation of exactly that. And the problem that we've had this season, a lot of times, is just nobody being in the middle of the pitch. Like, it happens again here. It's just like, look at all this space. Like, there's just no Liverpool player in this area. It's just not really understandable for me. This has been a problem because of, I think, like, we've not had the press right, and then the players we've been playing in midfield have kind of been a bit like, oh, where do I go? I don't really know. And then when we've had the ball, we've even seen where we've had no one in the middle. But you see, we don't quite get it right here. You can see Isak's pushed onto a fullback, to a centre-back, who's actually even deeper than Isak is in this position here. So the other centre-backs, or it might even be a midfielder, I'm not sure, has stepped in and he's got the ball. Wirtz isn't quite close enough to be able to close him down. Bradley's pushed on to press the winger, which is good. And then the problem we've got is our midfielders. They've both got it a little bit wrong. I'm not quite sure why Jones is this far wide. I mean, he doesn't really need to be here at all. He should be in here. Szoboszlai is pressing this person, but I think Szoboszlai has to be a little bit smarter. Is to look over his shoulder and look at, okay, if the ball goes, if this player manages to pass this player the ball, it's okay if Szoboszlai is stood here. This player isn't really a danger. But what is a problem is what happens if this player is able to pass the ball here, or, pass the ball there, or pass the ball here. Because now he's out of the game, and that's exactly what happens. I think he's going to be a little bit smarter. Same with Jones. I don't know why Jones is so far wide. I really have no idea. For me, Jones should be here, and Szoboszlai should be here. They should be goal side, and if they are going to press, we shouldn't be so open. We should think about it more. We just get the press wrong. It's just not good enough. So Ritsu Doan can turn on the ball. They get the ball and play it out wide. And now look, this is where our reaction to these transition moments is just not good enough. Everyone runs back. Like, that's not a criticism of Liverpool. Everyone puts in good effort and we all run back well. But just look at Szoboszlai. This is, again, just lack of sort of, I don't know, IQ in the moment. So he's a much more powerful runner than Jones. And I think he recognises that in this situation. He's desperate to run back and try and win the ball. But in doing so, he actually just runs right into the back of Jones. You see that? He just runs straight into the back of him. I don't think he has any business, Szoboszlai, running out here and trying to close down this ball. Konate's coming over. Jones is close to it. Bradley's coming back in this area. Szoboszlai needs to think, right, where am I playing? I'm in the middle. Okay, run this way and screen these players. This player is inevitably going to try and cut the ball back. Screen your position. Don't let the ball come back into the danger of where you should be. He runs into the back of Jones. It's just weird play. Now, after he's done that, he switches off. And I had a lot of people, on the ratings video especially, and people I've read online, sort of praise, a lot of praise for Szoboszlai. He was brilliant in this game, but this is the exact reason why I didn't have him as my man of the match, or give him a higher rating than what I gave him, because he did do a couple of things which were detrimental to our team. Now here, he's ran into the back of Jones, so Konate is now having to come out on press. Jones has recognised this situation and he's going to cover for Konate because our centre-back has had to jump right out of position. But Szoboszlai, after running into the back of Jones, has sort of lost his sense of where he is supposed to be, and he switches off a little bit. And these two midfielders here, who he should have been tracking, he just stands still and he just allows this pass. If I just get rid of the drawings, he just allows this pass to come in behind and again completely cuts him out of the game. I just think he needs to be a little bit smarter. We've seen a few lapses. He's been a brilliant player this season, probably our player of the season so far, Szoboszlai. But there's been a few times, you think of the little flick he did against Bournemouth on the opening day. A few little moments where you're like, what was that? The throw-in against Man United. Just brain farts that he's doing, where this one's a similar one. It goes unnoticed because it's only a small thing, but this is why I'm here to point it out to you. So you can see the ball comes in, he's now out of the game. Jones is playing centre-back because he's covered for Konate. Liverpool are just out of position, and now Mario Götze has all the time in the world to just spread the ball wide to the eventual goal scorer, Christensen, who goes one-on-one with Robbo. Now, look, our defensive shape here is actually not all that bad. We've got the 4-back. Jones is actually filled in perfectly as that 4th centre-back. We're okay, but this player does well, gets a shot through Robbo's legs into the far post, and it's a goal. But you can see the transition is not good enough from Liverpool, and when this went in, I was thinking, oh no, 1-0 down again, 5th game in a row. It wasn't looking good. But never fear, Hugo Ekitike is here, and he scores a brilliant goal, and it comes from nothing really. If you look at where we picked the ball up, Robbo's literally inside his own box. Frankfurt have given the ball away on their attack. I don't know why they're so exposed. I don't know why they're so high at the pitch, but they were. And if you see where Ekitike is, he's actually behind this centre-back here when Robbo gets the ball. It's his running power and his confidence that makes this goal. Brilliant pass from Robbo, finds him, curls the ball round brilliantly. And this is the centre-back that he was behind. Look, he's already put, what's that, about 10 yards in between him. Ekitike, just brilliant speed, brilliant. Now he's got Robin Koch to deal with. Robin Koch neck and neck with him. He takes one touch that gets him to this area. So one touch out of his feet. But now Ekitike, right-footed player, obviously, wants to get the ball back on his right foot. Now, if he keeps running in this direction, he's going to have to shoot on his left foot. It's not going to be the easiest chance in the world. So this second touch is the key. This is what makes the goal. This is the brilliance of Ekitike in this situation. Takes this next touch around Robin Koch into this space. He knows he's got the legs on him. He's so confident in that. Comes around. Look, now he's come the complete other side of Robin Koch, whose name I just keep saying over and over again. Third touch, he's now in a brilliant situation. Complete middle of the goal. Goalkeeper has no idea which side he's going to shoot. Comes out, tries to close the angle for both posts by spreading himself. Ekitike rolls the ball through his legs right into the middle of the goal. It's a brilliant composed finish. It was a brilliant counter-attacking goal. Again, an example of that in this game from us. And we go 1-1. Now, from this point on, we started to play a little bit. Obviously, we scored the 2 corners. I'm not going to analyse those. They're just corners. It's good delivery, sure, but we're not going to go into detail on corners. What we are going to go into detail on is now that we were 3-1 up, Liverpool really started to play. They really, really started to get confidence and play some proper football. It was like we realised, okay, we're going to win this one, and we just relaxed, calmed down, and played a bit more freely, with a bit more freedom, yeah, is probably the right word in our play. And we see that here. So again, look at the team shape. I want to point this out. You've got Jones always available for the ball, which he was all game long, and you've got Szoboszlai next to him in a parallel line, working in tandem. Both of those really good. You've got the centre backs providing that obviously normal defensive position. In this situation, Robbo's actually gone forward, but you can see he's not just running blindly forward to make runs, he's checking his run now, he's trying to find space. There's a world where Wirtz can sort of make an angle and get this ball to him. Perhaps he's sort of asking for it. We've got width again with our fullback Bradley and Gakpo on the other side. That's a tactic that we're going to look at later in the video. It's just much better. Wirtz is in the complete centre of the pitch where he should be. And we've got the 2 strikers still, Ekitike and Chiesa. So Wirtz plays this one back to Jones, who was just fantastic again in this game. And now what we saw on the weekend a lot of times was Kerkez was in this area here, and the ball would go to Kerkez and then it would go back to Gravenberch, or it would go inside to Szoboszlai and then it would go back to the centre back. And look, if you look at where all these passes are going, they're all going backwards or sideways. There's no progression at all in our play. Well, not with Jones. He was excellent last night at passing the ball forward, and he does that straight away, passing this ball straight to Gakpo's feet. And Robbo's made a really clever run here by allowing that passing lane to come up by getting away from this area. He's not clogging up the pitch, got himself inside. This fullback has to deal with him being there, but the ball can come out wide to Gakpo now, which is exactly what happens. So Gakpo gets on the ball, and now the fullback has to come out to press Gakpo, but you see Robbo's in a situation now where he can receive the ball. He's not back here where it's really negative. He's in a good spot to receive the ball. I'm a centre-back, so all of a sudden got 2 players to deal with. He's got to deal with Robbo coming to feet. Can you accept that? If so, Robbo's going to be able to turn. He's going to be able to run forward, beat the fullback because he's had to come out and press Gakpo. Ekitike makes a great run. You can see he's pointing already. He wants to make this run in behind. Gakpo plays a brilliant ball through the legs of the defender. It actually goes directly through his legs like this, into Ekitike's path, and we get through like this. Ekitike manages to get into the box. Now, unfortunately, Chiesa and Bradley weren't able to get in time. When Ekitike takes this shot, you see he ends up, if Bradley had been able to maybe make this run across, maybe Ekitike can square it somehow. He gets himself in a shooting area. He wants to try and curl it a la Thierry Henry, but he doesn't quite get it right. Ends up going straight to the goalkeeper. Again, never the point of these videos is never to say, oh, you missed a chance. That's why we didn't score. That's why we didn't win. It's more to look at the actual passage of play, the situation. This was a good little move from us. Much better in build-up. Now, again, we're going to look at Florian Wirtz. We're going to look at the midfielders in this situation. Much, much better once again. We see Szoboszlai, we see Jones, not on the last line, but actually building up play. Really good positions from them as again. And now we see Wirtz this time, sort of on that right-hand side. He was able to pop up wherever he wanted in this game, even though he was sort of on paper positioned out here. We've seen him already in loads of different positions. We've got Robbo, nice and high, but not too high where he's on the last line. Again, sort of creating this, and you can imagine Konate somewhere around here, creating this sort of arrow sort of position as our rest defence, with the midfielders in front of them provide a nice screen, and then it gives us the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that most teams have in attack now. Most teams will have 5 players in the attack. Whether that's your fullbacks, your strikers, your wingers, your defenders, whoever it is, there's normally 5 in a row. Bradley's joined the attack nicely versus recognised that space. He's now providing the width. It was key that we had width at all times. Now, Wirtz tries to cross this across the face. It gets a little deflection. Works his way to Bradley. And now he has a good shot. We almost score from this. He hits it. The goalkeeper saves it onto the post. It's a good effort. But again, I just wanted to point out, look at the positions of Liverpool. Look at our team shape. We've got the 5, but then look, if we lose the ball, we've got Robbo here. We've got Jones here. We've got Szoboszlai just here on the edge. Ready to pick up, ready to press. All of Frankfurt's team is here. If the ball comes out, we're going to be able to press. It's just much more organised. It's much more discipline from our midfielders rather than all of them just crashing the box. And because of the game state, we're winning 3-1. We're in a position where we can afford to do this. We don't need to send 10 players into the box. It's much more controlled, much better from us. So you see, he has the shot, and I want to leave it in these clips because our press was so much better in this game, like so much better when we lost the ball. Winning second balls and maintaining and sustaining attacks, which is how you break down a low block. You have to sustain attacks. The ball comes off the post, it ricochets out. Chiesa immediately challenges for the header, makes a good physical challenge, doesn't quite win the ball, but affects it, doesn't make it an easy knockdown, so then Frankfurt can get out. Now, the ball gets knocked over here. Conor Bradley this time, really good. Charges upon the loose ball, gets his body in the way, wins it, and Liverpool start to play again. We maintain the possession of the ball. Really good. Again, you can see rest defense. Van Dijk's not even in the screen. We've got that sort of arrow, triangular rest defense. Really good. Good high press. Win the ball back. Much better from Liverpool. Just miles better of what we've been seeing. More to come. This time, building up play through the lines, but quickly, not letting Frankfurt get all the way back in. You see, they've tried a little attack. We've managed to dispossess them. Kanate here comes to Szoboszlai, not being too slow, not turning around, playing the ball back, letting them all get back in, but actually attacking the space that we've been given. Szoboszlai runs forward. This is brilliant from Szoboszlai. Great run. Wirtz again in this right sort of channel. The ball gets threaded through. Wirtz, great run. Now Gakpo on the other side, always in the right position. Gakpo offensively. Really, really clinical player at the minute, providing lots of output for us. Wirtz lays it across. Now, this is a relatively easy pass for someone like Florian Wirtz, but what he does is plays it right into his path. I think the ball actually lands like about here. Plays it right into his path. Gakpo can just run onto it. It completely kills the defenders. It kills the goalkeeper. He can't come and claim it. You see, yeah, it lands basically exactly there. Gakpo has a tap in into this near post right here, which is exactly what he does. Wirtz gets his first official Liverpool assist. It's just good play. It's much better tempo than what we've been seeing recently this season. Again, build-up. We've been so poor in build-up. Robbo had a great game. Really good position. Great progressive passes from Robbo in this game. Really pleased to see it. But again, before he makes this pass, look at the position of our players. Look at the team shape. Jones, Szoboszlai, double pivot. You can see Jones always available for the ball if Robbo needs. And then again, we've got the triangular, rest defence, Robbo, Van Dijk, Kanate, back three. Bradley nice and high, Gakpo nice and high, providing the width. Two strikers, Wirtz in the middle. This is a proper team shape. Credit to Arne Slot. We gave him a lot of criticism against United. We gave him a lot of criticism the last couple of weeks. This is a much, much, much better team shape than what we've been seeing. It's almost a 4, and then you've got your 3 midfielders, and you've got your 3 here. It's a 3-3-4 if you want to phrase it like that. It's much, much, much better. Robbo tries a long ball. It doesn't quite come off. They intercept. But again, look at Chiesa. This is really good from Chiesa. He's alert. His pressing was excellent in this game. Picking up second balls, the defender has to head it away. Who picks it up? Chiesa does. How many times against United did we see them win the ball and have 3 players ready to just control the ball, play, pass the ball, and no Liverpool players around them? Not in this situation. Chiesa wins it. Comes to Gakpo. We're able to keep possession of the ball. It ends up finding its way to Florian Wirtz, who again is in the middle of the pitch. Now, Szoboszlai is completely free. He's not gone too far forward. Comes to him, what's this, 25 yards out or so. Brilliant strike. Ball arrows into the corner, and Liverpool go up. Was this the 5th goal? I can't even remember now. I think it was 5-1. And the game was comfortable from that point. Well, it was already comfortable, but the game was, well and truly beyond Frankfurt's reach. Great counter press, great team shape, everyone in the right positions, and we score a nice goal. Now, unfortunately, I'm going to finish on a little bit of a sour taste in terms of the clips before we go to the tactics board quickly to wrap up the video. Mo Salah comes onto the pitch, and now, listen, this is not to rag on Salah or anything like that, but this is just to show, again, just sort of the situation that he's in at the minute and that we're finding when he's on the pitch. He actually does really well. He plays a nice 1-2 with Chiesa. The ball comes in here. Chiesa, who was good again in his half, the football comes on, gets the ball, nice control, plays it back to Salah, getting a great position. But from here, to look at this photo and think that Mo Salah doesn't just pop this across to Wirtz to tap it into the empty net It is quite criminal, really. And we know Salah's always going to shoot in this position especially when he needs a goal. And a lot of the time, he can. Oh, I've actually missed. You can actually curl it in the net, or maybe find a little near post one, squeeze it in. Think back to Napoli when we needed that qualification a few years back, and we won 1-0. Salah scored at the near post past David Ospina in the net. I think against Spurs in Salah's early seasons when he chipped one in past Lloris at the near post. He can score from this situation. There was one at Chelsea at Stamford Bridge a few years ago, and he beat Marcos Alonso, and he chipped the ball into this near post. He's got to square this. He just has to square it. It's so obvious. Virts will have been screaming at him. And if this was Sadio Mane, we would have had a kick-off central, like we did against Burnley that one time. But he doesn't. He shoots. The keeper saves it. He's got to square it. And Liverpool would have won this game 6-1, and Virts would have had his first goal for Liverpool. But that's all the clips from the game. I do want to show this on the tactics board before we finish off today, so you can see kind of what I've talked about in a bit more of a formation way of looking at things. So let's go and do that to finish off the video. All right, so here is the two sides setups. I've not put Frankfurt's names on the board. You don't really need to know that for what I'm about to show you, but I've put Liverpool and Frankfurt and their setups on paper on the board. So it was a bit of a 4-4-2, especially when we didn't have the ball. This is how Liverpool basically lined up. It was Wirtz on the right wing, it was Gakpo on the left wing, sort of left midfield, and it was Ekitike and Isak as a front two, with obviously the rest of the defence as it was. And I put Bradley in because he played just more than Frimpong. But what happened is, when we had the ball, it went to something that resembled 3 at the back, and then we saw Wirtz's position was completely free. So the first thing that we did was, obviously, we wanted Isak to be on this last line. So a lot of the times we saw where Frankfurt, they were a little higher than this, maybe. They were maybe about here. We saw Isak right on the last line. Ekitike wasn't quite so high. He was the one sort of dropping off, being the more, what maybe we consider last season, Szoboszlai's position, sort of off the last line as the number 10, if you'd like, although he was actually a second striker. It is more of a supporting striker, sort of a 90s style position, a supporting striker. Think Del Piero, think Totti, all these players who played this position really, really well. Not an out-and-out number 9, even though that's what Ekitike actually is. He's got the attributes to play this. So he was dropping off a little bit deeper, and we saw him float across here. Let's put him there. Gakpo was always really wide. We saw that in the clips, really wide, meaning that when Frankfurt got narrow like this, they have to be aware of Gakpo at all times. So naturally, we need width on the other side. Well, that came from the fullback. So Conor Bradley or Jeremy Frimpong, we saw nice and wide, really hugging the touchline. Again, meaning when Frankfurt were defending, they had to be aware of this situation. How many times did we see Jones and Szoboszlai just behind the striker, but in front of the midfield? Then they were always available to receive the ball off the centre-backs. So we saw Konate was most of the time here. Van Dijk would be right in the middle. And then we saw Robbo quite a lot here. So like we were saying, when Van Dijk has the ball, we've got that sort of arrow, triangle formation, however you want to call it. And it means that the ball can be easily passed into both midfielders. We haven't got just one, where we were seeing a lot of the time. McAllister was here on the weekend, and we had Gravenberch. We were just unable to just get the ball into him, basically at any point. We actually had the double pivot. It was much, much better. So where does that leave Florian Wirtz? You notice he's the last player that we've moved, and a lot of talk and noise has been around Wirtz's position. Where's he going to play? Like, how do we fit everyone in? Well, I think Arne Slot did a brilliant job here. Even though we saw he was actually lined up as the right midfielder when we didn't have the ball. When we did have the ball, how many times did we see him here or here or here? Basically completely free to roam. But if you look at where I've just put him, here, or here, he's always in the width of the 18-yard box. He's not out wide. He's not out wide left. That's not his position. He'll never be a winger. Never has been a winger. Anyone who suggests he should play on the left wing or the right wing as an out-and-out winger are just wrong. They don't know what they're talking about. It should never happen, and it didn't happen in this match. We saw situations where we had Van Dijk get the ball to Szoboszlai, and then he has to be pressed. And we saw, didn't we, early on, Szoboszlai played the ball to Wirtz, and it went to Ekitike. Remember, Theat had to come and jump out, and we were able to maybe try and play a 1-2 like this, maybe get in. We saw situations where Wirtz was picking up this position, and when the ball was coming, when Jones was nice and deep and Robbo had actually advanced, the ball was coming out wide all the way to Gakpo, and then back into Wirtz. That's how he set Szoboszlai up for his goal like this. It was just a lot better the team shape was a lot better. Look how much more organised of a team shape this looks than what we were seeing at the weekend. If we leave it like this, where we had Chiesa on in the second half, this is basically our team shape. It's so much better. Look how much more organised it looks. It's symmetrical. We ended up with the left winger, Gakpo, who's very, very good at holding his width. Very good at it. And Bradley was providing the width on the right-hand side. Wirtz was then able to come off his wing and come into the middle with the two centre midfielders providing the double pivot behind him, two strikers occupying the centre-backs, and then the three defenders doing their business. Now, the problem with this comes with Mo Salah. And I'm sorry, guys, this is going to be a problem because it's becoming clear to me. I'm not sure at the minute how we play Salah and Isak because you cannot take Ekitike out of the team at the minute. You can't take Gakpo out of the team. I'm sorry, you just can't. Wirtz has to play. Anyone suggesting we drop Wirtz earlier in the season, how did that work out for you? Not very well is the answer. He is not the problem by any means. He's the solution to a lot of our problems. So if we put Salah in, let's put Salah in for, I don't know, let's put him in for Ekitike. And let's imagine that, you know, Salah and Isak are playing together. The problem comes with that Salah is not a central striker. He's not able to do the things Ekitike was, where he's dropping off here and, you know, picking up the ball, linking up with Wirtz. Like, you want Salah maybe closer to the goal, but you don't want him to be stood on the last line. This is not where he is really at this stage in his career. And he's never been a link-up player. He's always been the finisher type player. So he's not going to be able to play in this situation. And also, let me tell you something. If Frankfurt had the ball and we had to press with the front two of Isak and Salah, we'd never win the ball. It would be non-existent. So that's something that's a problem as well. Ekitike is a better presser than Isak, marginally, and they're both much better than Salah, who doesn't do it at all these days. So let's put the ball back to Van Dijk. So, okay, that means then that Salah is going to be wide. So now do you see the problem? Now do you see the issue? With Bradley, in this formation that we've just seen, if they're providing the width and Salah's already wide, now I've got two players sort of doing the same thing. When we had Trent, what we were able to do was, more often than not, Robbo was our sort of marauding fullback, especially in the early years of Klopp, when Trent actually would go forward himself as well. But Trent in his later years stopped overlapping so much, and we'd actually sort of leave Trent here, and then Salah would hold the width, and we'd end up with, you know, something like this. Maybe this wasn't Wirtz, but, you know, we'd end up with something like this. Bradley, that's not his game at all. It's also not Kirk's game to be here. So now we've got a problem. How do we manage to get Salah in like this? And I don't know the solution. This is not for me to figure out. This is for Arne Slot to figure out. But if we want to play Wirtz, Isak and Salah, it's tricky because theoretically he could do this, but already look at what it's done to our team shape. We've now got sort of the 3, the 2, but then we've got sort of like this 5. Like, I think the best way is to move Salah a little bit off the wing and then sort of go with this. So instead of having the two strikers close together, you've got to keep Salah wide, but you've got to be more disciplined than where he is, because if we lose the ball, he's not going to run back. When we had Ekitike, let's put Ekitike back in. When we have Ekitike like this, when we lost the ball, it wasn't Ekitike's job to run back so much. It was Wirtz's job, and he's got the legs to be able to do this, especially with Szoboszlai behind him, who has lots and lots of legs. He's able to cover when we lose the ball for Bradley being so high and coming here. And Konate also excellent at covering in this area. So we've got a bit of a Salah problem and an Isak problem as well. And it's, look, Isak less so because he's going to play in his position. And we're not really worried about Isak's form. We're worried about Salah's form, really, at the minute. But I just think the team shape, give credit to Arne Slot. It was really good. The adjustments he made. He played the players that should play. Jones, Szoboszlai, Wirtz. In Szoboszlai, crucially in the middle. He played Robbo, he played Ekitike. Like, these players have got to play. Now, where I'm worried is that against Brentford, Mo Salah, I'm just going to tell you all this right now. There's a preview coming out tomorrow. Mo Salah will start for Liverpool on Saturday. I have literally zero doubt in my mind. There's no way Slot drops him for 2 games. It's just not going to happen. I'm sorry, it's not going to happen. Then the question comes, well, it looks like Isak is maybe injured, or maybe injured enough to not start the game. So I think that solves the selection issue for him. It's going to be Salah coming in for Isak, and it wouldn't surprise me if the rest of the team is likely similar to what we've seen against Frankfurt. But the question will be, how then does he get the best out of this team? So it might look something like this. TK probably comes here, and then, like I said, I think we've then got to do something like this. That's what I'd end up with, but I think Robbo deserves to play. I think Jones deserves to play. The question then comes, if Gravenberch is fit, who plays in the middle? These are all team selection issues. But the point of this video is to say the team shape against Frankfurt, much better from the personnel who played on the pitch, and a happy 5-1 victory. Okay then guys, that is going to do it for today's video. I do hope that you enjoyed looking at the tactics and just honestly enjoying a Liverpool win for the first time in a long time. So drink it in. Like the video, comment away what you think of Slot's adjustments and what you think of my analysis of Slot's adjustments as well. Always happy to discuss in the comments. I'll reply to literally every single one who comments anything about that. So yeah, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel. Again, we're trying to get to 200 subscribers, so please click subscribe, help me out. Let's get all the way there as soon as we can. Thanks for listening, thanks for watching, all that good stuff. We'll be back tomorrow with a preview for Brentford on Saturday. So the preview will come out Friday night, so be there for that one and watch as we preview that game. A big game in the Premier League. Can we get back to winning ways? Well, play like this, we'll have a much better chance. Until then guys, speak to you soon. Goodbye.